See, actually, there is a new setting which has come into this WebEx meeting that he will admit you first in the lobby and then I will have to allow you for the class. So I request most of the students to join earlier because otherwise it is going to create the problem. Otherwise it will, I do not know the setting, but I can do the setting. Let us say meeting information, copy meeting setting. Appearance, accessibility, user system, put noise removal. So let them join and let us see what we can do. I will share the screen with you people. Shall we start the class? Oh, I will not see. Sorry. Chara display. So in the last class, we were discussing about the wheel runout. So are you able to hear me? Yes, चलो आगे चलते हैं. Now we have seen the radial runout and the axial runout. And then after this, now we'll proceed further. Now here comes the wheel balancing. So what do you mean by the wheel balancing? What will happen if you do not balance the wheel? Sir, what do you mean by wheel balancing? Yes, sir, please answer if you can hear me. Have you studied the balancing of the dynamic balancing? Okay. Dynamic force will come on the wheel axle. Sir, how it will come? Dynamic balancing of the wheel. Yeah. Sir, what do you mean by balancing? Balancing, why you are saying specific word, the dynamic balancing? Centrifugal force. So, centrifugal force is what? Sir, what are different types of balancing you have studied during your theory of machines class? Please answer, sir. What are the different types of balancing you have studied in the theory of machines class? Saurabh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you please answer?
Yes, sir. We have a study about reciprocating, static, and dynamic balancing, sir.
See, what you studied in reciprocating balancing?
Means, sir, how to balance when crank piston is moving in the cylinder. Means how to balance the dynamic force coming on the piston, sir.
Dynamic force. Utkarsha has given. No, actually there is no separate balancing as called as the reciprocating balancing. There are two types of balancing. One is static balancing, the other one is dynamic balancing. In dynamic, it covers rotating as well as the reciprocating masses. So Saurabh, please be clear, because if you go for the interview, such kind of questions are very common. Okay, even if you are going for any company who is working in the domain of mechanical engineering, so please be careful. Okay, so there are two types of balancing, basically the static balancing and the dynamic balancing. So what do you mean by static balancing? Will there be any force in the static balancing? First of all, why we need to balance the wheel? That is the question, that how we can balance the wheel, or why you need to have the balancing of the wheel. Sir, do you have any idea as far as what do you mean by static balancing? Come on, you have done course in theory of machines, or currently you are doing the course in theory of machines. Rushikesh Kolhade, why you are joining late? Rushikesh, please answer. You are joining late class by 9 minutes. So sir, please let me know what do you mean by static balancing. आपने पढ़ा है कि नहीं यार, आंसर तो दो. या पढ़ने की इच्छा नहीं है आपकी? अरे, you either say yes or no. What have you studied? Static balancing. Have you studied dynamic balancing? Yes. So if you have studied, then you should know this. क्या यार, कैसे करेंगे? सिर्फ कॉलेज को ही दोष देंगे क्या? Okay, read this. Wheel balance refers to the proper distribution of weight around a revolving tire and wheel assembly. Poor wheel balance can have a marked impact on both the vehicle and passenger safety. Please note that refers to the proper distribution of the weight. That is basically, if the distribution of the weight is not proper, then in that particular case you will have the problem as far as the you can revolving of the tire assembly, proper distribution of weight. Poor wheel balance can have a marked impact on both vehicle and passenger safety, because there is a problem. If the wheel is not in balanced condition, then there will be some imbalance created, and if this imbalance is beyond the control of the driver, that means he is not able to steer the vehicle, then there is going to be the problem as far as the balancing is concerned. So please understand this. Now, wheel and tire assembly may be checked for wheel balance, either on or off the vehicle. Balancing of wheel is done for static balancing and dynamic balancing. So this is basically there are two types of balancing which have to be done for the vehicle. One is static balancing and other one is dynamic balancing. So let us see what do you mean by the static balancing and what do you mean by dynamic balancing. Okay. A tire and wheel may be in static balance and still have dynamic unbalance. So there is a marked difference between the static balance and the dynamic balancing. Either static or dynamic balance will cause the steering wheel to shake from side to side at higher speed. That means if there is, you say that there is some imbalance on any of the wheels, then that impact is getting transferred to the steering system, and there will be side to side movement of the steering system or steering wheel at higher loads. So you might have seen that if there is some wheel unbalance, or if there is some problem with the wheel alignment, then that is going to cause the problem as far as the steering of the vehicle is concerned. So if the steering of the vehicle is not proper, then there is going to be the directional instability of the vehicle, and once you disturb the directional stability of the vehicle, then you know that what is going to happen. So wheel balancing is that way very important thing. So now we will see what are different types of balancing. Here the sketch shows that if there is some imbalance which is here, and there is some balance which is some imbalance here. So again, this is shown in the side view, or you can say the isometric view. So then this kind of movement occurs, the repetitive will twitch due to imbalance. So we are going to see this, what exactly it means. Okay, तो सर अभी इसको हम लोग देखते हैं. The balancing of the rotating masses can be considered in two stages. So one is the static balance that is in one plane of revolution. A static balance, please understand that it has to be it is the technique of balancing the wheel in only one plane. But if you got to have the unbalance in the two planes, that means here in this particular sketch, if you say that this is the if this is the center line, ये सर समझिए कि ये अगर सेंटर लाइन है, so this unbalanced mass is falling on one plane, this is falling on the other plane. If such kind of imbalance exists in the wheel, then it is going to create the couple. So this couple will be created as the wheel is rotated. Here the rotation is shown. Because of this force, there will be the force which will be acting through this particular mass in one plane and this particular mass in other plane. So that is why there will be some unbalanced couple will be produced on the wheel, and the wheel side to side movement will occur. So that is why it is termed in the second stage, that is termed as more than one plane of revolution. Then it is basically a dynamic balance, unbalanced. Okay. Now dynamic balance, when statically balanced wheel has balancing weight put on two different planes, it generates rocking couple as shown. For every revolution of a wheel, the wheel will rock in both the direction, clockwise and anti-clockwise, causing driver steering wheel to jerk from side to side. So this is the effect of unbalance if it is there. Okay. Now the characteristics of unbalance, here one graph is shown, wherein you will find that as you increase the wheel speed, the dynamic, this has to be static unbalance. Okay, so dynamic unbalance will increase and it will die out. But so this is not correct. Okay, this is not dynamic unbalance. This is basically the causing of, this is the unbalance caused by static unbalance. Okay, so it will increase to some value and then it will die down because of the dynamic unbalance, whereas because of the static unbalance, the amplitude of oscillation will go on increasing. So this is the graph which gives you the idea that what is going to happen with the increase in the wheel speed. That means if the wheel RPM is increasing. So we'll see here what it says. Steady increase of amplitude, wheel twitching about swivel pin with a rising wheel speed. So please note that this is the steady increase. So that is due to static unbalancing. So you need to balance the wheel in the static condition. That is one thing. Then, whereas with the dynamic unbalance, the magnitude of the wheel twitching rises to maximum and then decline with further increase in the wheel speed. That means this is going to rise up to a certain point and after that it is going to decrease. So this is the effect of the dynamic imbalance. But please note that if you have the static unbalance, then the oscillation of amplitude is going to increase as you increase the wheel speed. So this is the effect. Okay. Now static unbalance. Exactly what is static unbalance? So static unbalance is, this is equal distribution of weight around the wheel. That means you need to take out the wheel and put it on the floor, or you can say a pointer where you can have the wheel suspended at center point, and then you try to add the balancing weight in such a way that the spirit level which you kept on the wheel should become perfect. The bubble should come perfectly at the center. The wheel with static unbalance rotates with bouncing action or tramp wheel. Tramp means tramp is a hooping up and down of a wheel at higher speed. Okay, this eventually cause uneven tire wear. So, okay, this is eventually will cause uneven tire wear. Okay, now what it says next is a wheel can be statically balanced by using bubble or static balancer. So there is a specific, you can say, balancing equipment which is available with the tire selling dealer. So you can balance the vehicle or balance the tire there, remove wheel from the wheel and mount on the bubble balancer. There, as what I have told you previously, that there is a bubble balancer which is used for balancing of the wheel. If wheel is heavier in one section, that is unbalanced, the bubble in the center of the balancer will move off center. अगर आपने वो बबल बैलेंसर पे अगर आपको व्हील कार से निकाल के लगा दिया तो आपको पता चलेगा कि if there is some imbalance which is prevailing in the wheel, then the bubble will shift to one side. Balance the wheel by adding the wheel weights to rim until the bubble is centered. So please note that this is the procedure for balancing the wheel in balancing wheel statically. Adding corrective weights restore the equal distribution of weight around the wheel. So usually the static balancing is the equal distribution of weight around basically the body. That means the body should have equal distribution of weight in static condition. That means you are not rotating. This is shown here. What do you mean by wheel tramp? Wheel tramp is basically when this particular heavy spot, this is called as a heavy spot, when it rotates, then it is going to give you the up and down movement of the wheel, which is called as the wheel tramp. Okay, so if you add the balancing weight like this for balancing of the unbalanced weight which is here, then again when it is going to rotate, it is going to give you the couple this and here. So even if you statically balance the wheel, it has to be balanced dynamically, otherwise there will be imbalanced couple. So please you can you can understand the balancing of the wheel from the two perspective. When you say that equilibrium, then in that case the sorry, equilibrium means basically summation of the forces should be zero, and the other one is the summation of all the, you can say, the moments have to be zero. So here when you balance the wheel statically, the summation of the total force in static condition is equal to zero, but that doesn't guarantee that whenever you rotate the wheel there can be imbalanced couple which will be produced by putting the weight in two different planes. So even if the wheel is statically balanced, you have to do dynamic unbalance. That is the must thing as far as the balancing of the wheel is concerned. So have you understood static balancing? Is there any issue as far as the static balancing is concerned? Static balancing is balancing of centrifugal force in single plane. Somebody has quoted it previously, but I don't agree that it is not the balancing of the centrifugal force. See, centrifugal force will come into picture whenever there is a rotation of the wheel. If there is no rotation of the wheel, there will not be the presence of the centrifugal force. So please be careful when you select the word. Okay, it is basically the equal distribution of weight about the point of, you can say, support. That is basically the static balancing. So please understand this very carefully. Okay, so just don't make any loose comment. Have you understood this? Do you have any issue as far as the static balancing of the wheel is concerned? Why you need to have the static balancing even if the wheel is dynamically balanced? Because there is no guarantee that there with the distribution of the force, there is no guarantee that even if you dynamically balance, the wheel will be statically balanced, because it may not ensure the equal distribution of weight of the wheel around the point of rotation. Okay, so please understand that So you have to have the wheel statically balanced, you have to have wheel dynamically balanced. Both the balancing, any one of the balancing is not sufficient as far as the vehicle wheel is concerned. Okay. Now dynamic balance. What do you mean by dynamic balance? So we'll see this. Dynamic balance, or it is called as spring balance as well. This is equal distribution of weight on each side of the tire center line. When wheels has dynamic balance, there is no tendency to side movement. A wheel that has dynamic unbalance may cause wheel shimmy, abnormal vibration of wheel of a motor vehicle. So this will also ensure that कि आप equal distribution of weight रहेगा करके, but equal distribution of weight is possible only when you balance it statically. So now this is going to show the picture of the dynamic imbalance. That means you add weight to balance the heavy spot here, which is located here. You have added the weight like this. यहाँ पे एक weight add किया और यहाँ पे एक weight add किया, and because of that there will be some side to side movement. Here you can say that the wheel will move side to side, so that is called as the shimmy wheel. Okay, this is basically the abnormal vibrations of the wheels of a motor vehicle. So this is basically the problem. Okay, I hope you understand this. एक मिनट, मैं थोड़ा सा ये शेयरिंग का थोड़ा सा चेंज करता हूँ बिकॉज आई एम गेटिंग ट्रबल, तो मैं थोड़ा सा ये विंडो नॉर्मल कर देता हूँ. जस्ट मोमेंट. शेयर ये लेआउट I can do it like this, or screen one file hide board. Just a moment. Automatically optimize for text and images. One moment. ये थोड़ा सा Microsoft PowerPoint action. Suppose I do this because I do not know. Yeah. So this is basically the thing. Now let us move further. The preferred method of balancing, the tire and wheel balancing methods. One is direction. Here it is shown the complete tire where to add the balancing weight. Okay, this is the direction of the motion is saying, and here you can rotate this. So direction of motion is upwards and downwards. This is the balance weight they are adding. One is here, the other one is on the back side of it. Okay, so the other is here for balancing this. Okay, dynamic balance preferred 3-axis XYZ balancing. This is single axis. That means you balance it in only one plane. So rather than looking at, we will see the questions. The amount of unbalanced mass, wheel balance. What it says, more the unbalanced mass, more will be the wheel imbalance. Okay, so that is the first thing. Second, it says that distance of unbalanced mass from the center. More the distance of unbalanced mass from the center, more will be wheel imbalance. So please try to understand, this is very, very natural because it is going to mr omega square. So mr omega square, the value of the centrifugal force will be maximum. Then the third one is the RPM or speed. More the speed, more will be the wheel unbalance. Okay. So जितनी ज़्यादा ये speed रहेंगी, more the speed, more will be the wheel unbalance. So these are the three things. पहले amount of unbalanced mass ज़्यादा रहेगा, wheel unbalance ज़्यादा रहेगा. Distance ज़्यादा रहेगा unbalanced mass का from the center of rotation, still it is going to give the more imbalance because it is mr omega square. Speed ज़्यादा रहेगा तो omega ज़्यादा रहेगा, तो imbalance जो है, unbalance जो है, it is going to increase as a square. So be careful whenever you have to balance the wheel. Have you seen by any chance how the balancing is done? सर देखा है क्या आपने बैलेंसिंग कैसा करते हैं व्हील का? तो Okay, so if you have not seen, then I suggest you that once in a while or whenever you get the free time, try to visit the tire seller shop. Okay, the person who is selling the tire, because the person who is selling the tire, he is having the complete setup of the wheel balancing machine. So wheel alignment and wheel balancing is done simultaneously whenever you change the tire or whenever you buy the new tire, or as a routine checkup if you take your vehicle to the balancing system. So they will allow us, if you happen to get the time and if you are on the campus, they near our Bajaj Nagar gate, there is a MRF tire dealer. So you can go there and you can see the balancing machine. And let me tell you that the balancing machine which he is using for the static and dynamic balance along with the wheel alignment, it cost nearly 1.5 crores. Okay, so it's not a small investment as far as the balancing this is concerned. So balancing is every tire dealer is having the balancing machine. So go and visit and see how they do it. So the first sign that the wheels may be out of balance is when the steering wheel starts to wobble. Wobble is basically the motion of the steering wheel, which will be moving the steering wheel up and down in the oscillatory fashion, so above a certain speed. So that means if you are driving the vehicle, then if you feel such kind of thing, then please understand that there might be some problem with the wheel balancing. Usually if this kind of thing happens, there is because of the vibration of the steering wheel, the driver will get fatigued at a very early time compared to the balanced vehicle driving. Okay, so ये सब चीजें जो है, ये balancing, alignment, these are all related to driver, and driver को fatigue बहुत जल्दी महसूस होगा. Okay, so there has to be that means if you are a sensitive driver, then you will not at all like to drive the vehicle which is having some wheel unbalance. Okay, so most of the people who are very sensitive as far as their driving is concerned, so for them they easily notice this, there is some problem with the wheel alignment or wheel balance. Okay, then lightweight of modern car means that they don't dampen down the vibration caused by spinning of wheels in a way that older heavier vehicles could. So this is the point which goes into the favor of the older heavy vehicle. Now there is the steep competition as well as the fuel economy of the vehicle is concerned. So most of the vehicle manufacturers, they are making the lighter vehicle, and if the vehicle is lighter, because it is the frequency of vibration omega is equals to under root k by m. K is stiffness, m is the mass. If mass is less, then omega will be more, frequency of vibration will be more, and the fatigue will be more, because all these vibrations, they are getting transferred to the driver through the steering wheel. So please note that. So lightweight vehicles, the damping is not that much compared to heavy weight vehicle. So this is the point which we know. The symptoms of wheel that is out of unbalance are, there are other symptoms as well. The one, vibration in the seat or the floorboard at the certain highway speed. That means if you are riding the vehicle which is having unbalance, then the passengers may feel the vibrations. Scalloped or cupped wear pattern of the tire. So this wear pattern we are going to see in few minutes from now, so we'll discuss it there. Then premature wearing of the suspension, steering components and rotating pads. So one imbalance can create so much problems in the vehicle, and please note that these problems, they are gradual, and at some point of time they may crop up, and you may have the sudden failure of the vehicle, of sudden failure of the suspension system. So if you are sensitive, you can say a person or who is having a good observation, you can say ability, then he can notice if he is getting seat in the any of the vehicle. So please understand that after learning all these things, whenever you hire a taxi, there will be fear in your mind that there are so many problems which you can say a taxi you hire from the online site. So you will be slightly having some kind of fear in your mind कि भाई इसका steering तो ठीक है ना, इसका wheel तो ठीक है ना, कभी sudden तो failure तो नहीं हो सकता, because there are some cases where there is a sudden failure of the steering linkage or steering universal joint, and as a result the driver has lost the control of the vehicle. सो सर ये थोड़ा सा याद रखना, जैसे जैसे आप ये पढ़ते जाओगे वैसे वैसे आपको थोड़ा सा ऑटोमोबाइल का डर बढ़ते जाएगा. यू विल कम टू नो दैट कि एनी काइंड ऑफ थिंग और एनी टाइप ऑफ फेल्यूर कैन हैपन एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो इसके पहले आपके मन में ये डर नहीं था, लेकिन ऑटोमोबाइल इंजीनियरिंग लेने के बाद जब भी आप थोड़ा सा व्हीकल को या कार को देखेंगे तो सो मेनी थिंग्स विल कम इनटू योर माइंड. सो प्लीज बी केयरफुल. At least to my mind, these doubts they come because I have worked in the automobile industry and I have seen the failures and the consequences of the failure of the component. One of the component which failed was the alternator belt. Alternator belt failed हो जाने के बाद what is going to happen, I will not tell you when we will discuss the front end auxiliary drive. I will tell you what happens if the alternator belt of the vehicle fails. So even if you have a very sophisticated system, there is going to be some kind of a risk involved. So my suggestion to you people is try to maintain the vehicle as much as possible rather than taking care of your mobile phone or full computer or laptop. I am not saying that you don't take care of the computer or laptop or mobile, but taking care of your vehicle is utmost important, because if something goes wrong, then it is directly related to your life. It's a question of life and death. So please be careful next time when you use the vehicle. Okay, so थोड़ा सा ये सर ध्यान में रखो. आपके गाड़ी को अगर कुछ कम ज्यादा हुआ तो वो आपका लाइफ एंड डेथ का सवाल है, लेकिन मोबाइल को कम ज्यादा हुआ तो कुछ नहीं होगा. Nowadays I don't know, but some people may get attacked if there is some problem with the mobile. Okay, तो वैसी तो सिचुएशन होपफुली आपकी ये एज में नहीं रहनी चाहिए. अगर है तो थोड़ा सा केयरफुल रहो. ओके, नाउ व्हील बैलेंसिंग. अभी व्हील बैलेंसिंग के इसमें क्या बोलता है, करेक्टली बैलेंस will help to eliminate vibration, avoid premature wear caused by an imbalance in the rotating wheel and tire assembly. This we have seen. Now wheels are balanced on a wheel balancing machine. The machine rotates the tire and wheel assembly and automatically calculates the weight and location of the balance counterweight. कि आपको कुछ भी नहीं करना है बैलेंसिंग में, it is done automatically because it is fitted with the sensors. You just have to take out the wheel, put it on the wheel balancing machine, and it will rotate the wheel at different speed and will give you automatically the calculation. The program will automatically calculate the location and the fitment of the balance weight. So have you seen? अगर नहीं देखा है तो आप कृपा करके एक बार तो भी देखिए, या आपके घर में कार है या आपके दोस्त के पास कार है तो जब भी वो व्हील बैलेंसिंग के लिए जाए उसके साथ जाइए and please have a look at how they balance that. It's a very good business nowadays. Okay, wheels are balanced using small weights called as the balance that smooth out weight distribution and stop the vibration. Please note that the cost of the balance weight comes out to be 1 gram will cost you around 1 rupees. Okay, so if you require the balancing weight of 50 grams, then the cost will be 50. That is the cost of the balancing weight. It comes in the form of some metal tubes, metal capsules. Okay, so next time whenever you see any vehicle, try to find out that if there are some metal tablets which are attached to the wheel rim, then only you will come to know that where it is fitted. I will show you the photograph as well, don't worry. Now result of the balancing is a smoother ride and a better tire wear. A better tire wear का मतलब ये है tire wear uneven या you can say random tire wear नहीं होगा. It will be, the tire wear will be uniform tire wear and it will be a natural wear. It is occurring due to the road surface and the tire surface, but there will not be different types of the wear pattern. Okay, तो ये जो है सर ये बैलेंसिंग का इम्पोर्टेंस है. Now a driver may not always sense imbalance at the steering wheel. It could be present but dampened by vehicle weight. This is why balancing is equally important for both front and rear wheel. So this is the key statement. इसलिए मैं शुरू से आपको बोल रहा था, if you are a sensitive driver, then and then only you will be in a position to feel and understand what is if there is imbalance of the wheel. If you are not, then sometimes you may say that the vibrations may not reach to you, but there has to be some, but there may be some imbalance which is prevailing in the vehicle tire. So it is important for both front and rear wheels to get it balanced. So whenever you do the tire rotation, the person who is there in the workshop, he will always try to see that all the wheels are balanced, and if at all some balancing weight is required due to wear and tear of the tire, he will correct it by putting the appropriate balancing weight to the tire. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने एक बार wheel balance किया तो वो unbalanced नहीं होगा. There are chances that the wheel may become unbalanced, provided if you run the vehicle for certain kilometers. That means if you run the vehicle for a certain kilometer, there will be some tire wear, and because of some problem in the suspension system or some problem in the alignment, the wear is not uniform, the unbalance will be created, because at one location the tire may be worn out more compared to the other location. So that is why the balancing is recommended whenever you rotate the wheel, and we have seen how to do the rotation of the wheel. तो wheel rotation की हमने बात की है. तो अभी ये सर this type of balance weights they are added to the wheel rim. So this is the balance weight. ये जो है सर ये enlarge वाला view है इसका. So ये है सर ये wheel balance, ये wheel weight है, ये यहाँ पे second capsule मैंने दिखाया हुआ है. So this is basically, if you happen to see such kind of weights which are attached to the wheel rim, then make that it is basically the balance weight. Okay. Now we will see the tire wear. What are the different types of tire wear? Before that, I have the question to be asked to you people, and let us see your perception. So please listen to the question carefully. Now, during the summer days, the temperature in the city like Nagpur goes to 47 to 48 degrees maximum. Would you recommend that the tire inflation pressure should be less? That is one thing. And second thing is, during the winter, when the temperature goes down, do you recommend that you will inflate the tire more than the pressure which is specified? So what is your answer? During summer days के लिए क्या आंसर है? जैसे during summer days, the oil manufacturing companies, they say that please do not fill the tank till the last, you can say, point. Leave some space for the fuel vapors to get accumulated. Okay. On the similar lines, what is your opinion that during the summer days, will you decrease the tire inflation pressure? Sir, please answer this if you have not. Yeah, summer less tire pressure. Summer, you say that less pressure as air expand. Okay, that is the answer which is given by Pradyuman. So what about others, what they feel? Sir, tire pressure के बारे में आपका क्या कहना है? Yes, because during summer days the air inside the tire expands if we travel for a long distance, usually on highways. Okay, so that is the answer given by Anshuman. Agreed, sir. Any other specific comment on this? On whatever logic you have given, I have got the sub question. Then how much to reduce? whether 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, 15%. Sir, how do you decide that how much it has to be reduced? This is question to all the people who are attending the class. सर कैसे करेंगे सर? टोटल 60 कैंडिडेट्स है, उसमें से यानी 10 लोग सो गए हैं अभी घर में। 61 में तो मैं भी हूं। सर प्लीज लेट मी नो योर कमेंट ऑन दिस। दिस इज अ कॉमन क्वेश्चन। सर ये थोड़े से क्वेश्चन आप याद रखिएगा। दिस विल हेल्प यू in your career to get into good companies. Otherwise then the people who come for the campus interview, they say that कि आपके लोगों को technically बिल्कुल कुछ भी नहीं आता and we have to conduct the domain interviews. Okay, may you say that it is 2% for every 10-degree change. Okay. So somebody has said that minus 0.5 psi. Please understand that we do not use the unit of psi. Psi is the British unit, pounds per square inch. Okay, so that is one thing. So please do not give the answer to the people if the same question is asked to you during your interview. You say that it has to be 10% or 20% rather than giving the value. Saurabh, okay, so keep this thing in mind. Sir, answer to the question which I have asked you is that you need not have to overinflate or underinflate the tire during summer or winter. The answer is very simple, that if you see any specification of the vehicle, it doesn't tell you regarding that you have to reduce the tire pressure during summer and you have to overinflate the tire during winter, because then what is the use of the recommended value? The recommended value is fixed whether it is summer or winter. It is decided based on all weather conditions. So please don't be under impression that during summer you have to underinflate the tire and during winter you have to overinflate the tire. That is not at all recommended. Rather, if you read the manual or the specification of the any of automotive manufacturer, they will not specify this. So इसलिए सर मैंने आपको प्रैक्टिकल में स्पेसिफिकेशन कलेक्ट करने के लिए बोला था टायर के। अभी हम लोग नेक्स्ट वाला ये प्रैक्टिकल करेंगे, उसमें भी मैं आपको टायर का स्पेसिफिकेशन कलेक्ट करने के लिए बोलूंगा। यू शो मी whether any of the automotive manufacturer has specified any limit for the tire inflation pressure. So it will recommend you the pressure and you are supposed to use that value whether it is summer, winter or any weather condition. So please keep this thing in mind. This is the common mistake and I am teaching this subject from last so many years and I get the same kind of answer from you people. So please correct your thinking. Okay. Similarly, the case is there that people use the oil. That means, do automobile manufacturer recommend some kind of engine oil for some weather condition and other kind of engine oil for other weather condition? No, it is the same oil which is whether you feel it in the Nagpur, whether you will feel it in the Jammu and Kashmir, where the temperature is much below 0 degree centigrade. So please don't do that. Automotive manufacturer, they never suggest you, they will suggest single value to be used in all weather condition. Even if you export the vehicle to USA or even if you export the vehicle to cold country or a hot country, the recommendation, they won't change. So keep this thing in mind. That is why they are called as recommended value. तो सर ये थोड़ा सा ख्याल में रखो. Is this clear? Only if at all they want to recommend, they only recommend that during hot weathers, please do not try to fill up the tank to the extreme end of the fuel tank. Even if you feel nothing will happen because there is a vent which is provided to the petrol tank, you can say lid. So from that, the fuel vapor will escape. So they are doing this because they wanted to save the, you can say, evaporation of the vapors finally. Okay, तो सर ये ऐसे काम मत करिएगा. Now let us discuss the tire wear. Now it is going to give you the tire wear pattern as far as overinflated tire. If the tire tread is deeper on the edges than in the center, the tire is overinflated. That means if you see the tire where such kind of pattern is there, that means it is deeper at the center compared to the edges, then it is the sign of overinflated tire. So this is the kind of thing. Deeper का मतलब ये है, ये tread wear जो है यहाँ पे ये ज्यादा deeper है compared to the tread wear यहाँ पे. तो ये क्या बताता है, ये this shows that it is an overinflated tire. Now if the tread is deeper, ये यहाँ पे ज्यादा deeper है, okay, compared to यहाँ and यहाँ, it says that the tire is underinflated. ठीक है, तो ये सर ये टायर वियर पैटर्न स्पेसिफिकली ऐसे जनरेट अगर आप होते हुए आपने टायर पे देखे तो यू कैन मेक श्योर दैट कि ये जो ओनर है इसने ऑलवेज अंडर इन्फ्लेटेड कंडीशन में टायर गाड़ी चलाई है, और द अदर वे अराउंड. नाउ if the tread is deeper on one side than the other, the have vehicle alignment. So vehicle alignment करने की जरूरत है. ये अगर wear pattern ये ऐसा है, if the tread is deeper on one side than the other side, okay, तो ये ज्यादा deeper है, ये कम deeper है, तो आपको जो है ये vehicle owner को तुरंत wheel alignment करने की जरूरत है. So sir ये if tread is smooth in one direction but jagged in the other is called sawtooth wear pattern. ये है ये sawtooth wear pattern. ओके, ये देखिए सर ये जो है ये ऐसा अगर sawtooth wear pattern है, so which is a cause of toe in problem. We have understood what is toe in and toe out, okay, in the vehicle. So it indicates the problem of toe in of the vehicle. It has to be corrected. So sir, people have studied a lot of things about the vehicle, each and every component. So tire pressure, the tire pressure is a in a tire is a function of load it carries. Load / pressure chart should be referred for correct pressure. Usually this is valid for the heavy duty trucks, not for the passenger car. To make it more user friendly, we have recommended some tire pressure. ये तो ठीक है सर, ये टायर प्रेशर रिकमेंडेशन की वैल्यू ज्यादा देखने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, ये अपने काम की नहीं है, ये PSI में ये सर्विस ट्रेनर के लिए है. So the correct pressure will have such kind of profile, that means it will touch the road, then the low pressure and high pressure. Okay, so these are basically the tire inflation value. Now this is the tire inflation. Under inflated tire में ये problem होगी, over inflated tire में probably properly inflated best tire wear के लिए tread के लिए ये problem है. ये problem नहीं है, basically this green is, if you see the tire size calculator में .com से दिया हुआ है, तो ये आपको ये पूरा उसका ये मिलेगा, यानी ट्रेड का पैटर्न मिलेगा रोड पे, और ये है ओवर इन्फ्लेटेड, सो एक्सेसिव वियर इन द सेंटर. तो ये देखिए सर यहाँ ट्रेड वियर हो गए हैं, यहाँ यूनिफॉर्म है, यहाँ देखिए साइड वियर है, ये दोनों जगह. ठीक है, सो दिस इज द अंडर प्रॉब्लम विद द अंडर इन्फ्लेशन. नाउ टुडे वी विल स्टॉप विद दिस. इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेरी you can ask me. If you do not have any query, then I have an announcement to make. Please note that there is a new setting which is in WebEx that people are allowed to enter lobby first, and then depending upon their time of entry, they will be allowed to attend the class. So today it was the first day, so I have allowed you people to be there in the meeting, but I have seen that I get the log as well, and now this is the feature which is there in the meeting. So please be careful that whenever you join, if you join late, it is getting marked. तो सर थोड़ा सा केयरफुल रहिए, ये आपके लिए क्या बोलते हैं कि थोड़ी सी सूचना है, क्योंकि ये सब कुछ चीज है, बिकॉज वी आर यूजिंग अवर कॉलेज लॉगिन फॉर द नेटवर्क, एंड दिस कैन बी ऑलवेज रिट्रीव्ड, द डेटा कैन बी ऑलवेज रिट्रीव्ड फ्रॉम द क्लाउड. So please be careful. So with this, I will stop here. If you have any question, please do ask. If you do not have any question, then you may leave the meeting.